All right. Bogota family, let me know if you can hear and see me. Let me know if you can hear and see me. 26. Good. Um, Simply say shalom to everybody. All right. Here we go. Let me go down the list and give my shalom. Shalom. Shalom, Sister Uriah, Yahoo, Sister Keisha, Sister Ayana, Yah's Love, Miranda, Sister Shamika Butler, Sister D, Samuel, Sister Sharika H, Alicia Shiva, Yah Israel, Mother Imunah, Shalom, Mother. We continuously praying for you. Shalom, Sister Kim, Unique Chosen, Darnell, Ivan, Yehukanan Little, Yana May, Yah's Love, Samuel, Lauren, Ebony, Amaya, Sister Isla. I think I said it right this time. Sister Isla. Elishiva, Darnell, Ivan, and Truth Keepers, the Birds, Sister Candace, Yada Yahoo, Shalom, Sis, Monica Davis, Bless 1471. Abiyah, daughter of Yah, Azani Yah by Israel, Marjana, Sonia Anderson, Chief Yuya, Mooney, Kimberly, Jill, Sister Nava, Shalom, Sharonda, Shalom. All right. P. Red, Shalom, Marlita, Paul, Shalom. Again, I want to say shalom to everybody. And I'm going to talk about a few things this morning. Just how important it is to focus on what y'all's doing. What y'all's doing. We're going to talk about a few things this morning. As I was getting things together, Most High was just telling me it's two spirits that we're going to have to be careful of that will rule us in this time if we're not watching it. If we're not careful. And one of them is one of the most hardest spirits to recognize about yourself. It's really colder than any other spirit out there. We're going to talk about it a little bit today. It's one of the hardest things to self-inspect about you. And that's the spirit of pride. That's one of the secret weapons of the enemy that is so difficult to detect. And if you think you can easily detect it within yourself, then you can still be deceived. That's why we have to pray the Most High that He expose it within us. And the only way to combat the spirit of pride is humility. It's the only way. Only way you can combat it. And that's self-denial. And the other spirit is the spirit of fear. Those two spirits, as I was getting my computer together, Most I was saying, tell them those are spirits where this earth going to be ruled by spirit of pride and the spirit of fear. So we have to fight those things and focus on this, because it's one thing that was happening. And we're doing feasts of dedications in the service. We was praising the Most High. The Most High was moving in the service, you know. I can't remember what we were worshiping or praising. We were doing one of them. But in the midst of, no, we was praising. In the midst of the praise, Most High just stopped it. And He just kept telling me in my spirit, He's like, the spirit of pride is here. Spirit of pride. And I was just like, wow. It was so undetected, but it was in the assembly, in people's heart. Where people feel like they got a right to feel a certain way, a right to be a certain way. Where people might have a offense, all this type of stuff will come up. So I had to stop everything, you know, and really tell the people to, like, we weren't going to do no low talking. But we stop. Most I just let me spirit of pride in him. If it's in him, you need to come up here and get deliverance and call it up out of you. And man, it was in that moment. It was a good little bit of people that came forth, you know. And that's something that people been combating and fighting, because sometimes even in your marriages or just anything, you forget to be clothed with humility, and you feel like you got a right to feel certain ways. You got a right to do certain ways. You got a right to have an attitude about this. Have a right to fuss about this. You have to feel defensive or offended, and you feel like you have the right to make your own decisions, to make decisions based off your situation, and decisions based off your hurt, rather decisions based off being ordered by the word, or wanting to seek attention, or use an opportunity to build a platform to be seen, or be aggravated by the gift that the Most High gave you because people ain't receiving it as you think they should. So then you develop a attitude indirectly that comes up every now and then. And it's like this thing that we got to learn to get control over. And I'm going to talk about that. We're going to go over a few scriptures and talk about that today, combating that. I wanted to say a little bit about it yesterday, but Most High came and took over the service, and we didn't get to do it. But it was, we got to fight those spirits, right? Let's go real quick. Well, I'll give you something that the Most High gave me in prayer first, and that's the name of this video. And that's what he's doing with a lot of us. He's allowing us to go through these seasons of healing and redeeming our bloodline. All right, let's go real quick to Malachi chapter 4, verse 1. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I got to do something real quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, let's go back there real quick. Malachi 4. It says in verse 1, see, the day is coming, burning like an oven, but all the arrogant and all evildoers will be stubble. The day that shall come shall burn them up, says Yahuwah Sabaoth, so that it will leave neither root nor branch. But for you who reverence my name, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go out leaping like calves from a stall. And then you shall tread down the wicked, for they will be ashes under the soles of your feet on the day when I act, says Yahuwah Sabaoth. So we're in a time period, and the Most High began to show me in prayer. So I was in prayer on my prayer watch. My prayer watch is 5 a.m. In the morning, where I meet with Yahuwah. It's important that I let the Most High establish a prayer watch to you where you commit that time to the Most High, which is about your time every day or the days that He's allotted that you meet with Him, praying and interceding, for the body, praying and interceding for the nation, praying and interceding for what the Most High is trying to do, so you can even give Him the first fruits of your morning, or if your prayer watch is in the evening or late night. But anyway, so I was praying, and Most High just began to speak a form of Hebrew to me. Now I'm tripping, like Most High, I'm not no fluent speaker of Hebrew to be able to hear it and fluent. I deal with the Hebraic letters. I could recognize, the paleo breakdown of the letters, But when you get to talking fluently, just like I'm fluently speaking English, that ain't mine. I haven't learned that. So I'm praying. I'm like, what is you saying? I was like, and they're like, Most High, who you visiting this side right here? But it's something that He wanted me to go into, right? To understand. So as I was praying, He said, Asaph para Baith Qodash. I said, what? He said, Asaph para Baith Qodash. And I said, okay. So I began to go and look that up to see what statement he's saying to us. And when I looked it up, it made sense because this is what he's doing, right? The Asa means the healer. It means healing or healer. Asaph means gather. Para can represent to uncover, or it's almost like a turban, unveiling a turban or burying yourself naked. Para also, from a Hebrew idiom perspective, can mean cow. And when people say from a Hebrew idiom or slang or Hebrew idiom perspective, when they say para, that means how a cow be yoked one by one, as saying that or telling you to do something one by one. So remember, para is unveiling, um, uh, unwinding, or just really to make something bare. Like if I had a hat or a turban on and I would take it off, that's what para represents. Uncovering one by one. Baith or bet means house or within, family within. And Qodash or Kadash means separated. But it don't just mean separated from a Hebrew perspective. It means separated unto Yahuwah. And then when you're separated unto Yahuwah, you're separated unto Yahuwah's purpose. So what was he saying? He was saying the healer will gather and uncover or to make bare one by one to bring into the house to be separated unto Yahuwah and into his purposes. So he's saying this season is a season of inner healing, even greater. Because it seemed like all year we've been going through inner healing. But it's a different type of healing now. right? He's going to gather only those that he knows is his, that he can bear their shame or their willingness to expose their nakedness. But they're not exposing it. He's exposing it to them where there being a sacrifice for it, one by one, to come into his house or come within the family, to be separated unto his purposes. Now, let's deal with the para, or let's deal with the nakedness. This is why this is such a serious time. This is a time we doing. It's a lot of stuff we fighting. It's a lot of mind battles. It's a lot of things that come to distort our vision and our direction. It's old things that we ain't have to deal with in years trying to come back up and creep back up on us. It's old thought patterns and perversions and different things that we ain't have to deal with. It's trying to creep back on us. And we wondering like, I done conquered this. Where the heck all this coming from? Like, man, like what's going on? Why all the wickedness? I know it ain't nothing in me. I've been flowing as imperfection as I can, but you got to realize what's going on. And this is why it's imperative that you have to overcome pride and overcome fear. Because let me show you what you're fighting. And this is what he's doing. Let's go real quick to Leviticus 26. That's a good way to kind of open that up. Leviticus 26. Verse 40. Leviticus 26, verse 40. It says, if they shall confess their iniquities and the iniquities of their fathers, which trespass against me, and that they walk contrary to me, and that they also walk contrary to them, about them to the land of their enemies. If they uncircumcised hearts be humble, then they accept the punishment of their iniquity. Then I will remember the covenant that I made with Jacob, and also the covenant that I made with Isaac, and my covenant that I made with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. Now, why is this so imperative for us to understand right now? I'm going to show you what you're dealing with and what's happening, what the uncovering is. I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, I had a situation happen with a family. They called me that something was going on with one of the family members with their body, that they had they weren't breathing well. Their body had stiffened up. Their arms and their legs, they couldn't feel no feeling in there. And they had to be carried out of the house. And they initially was on their way to the hospital, right? And at first I didn't know. I just told them, well, listen, just let me know what hospital you're going to, and I'll meet you up there. But in my mind, I was like, I want to be able to get there to lay hands and to pray the prayer of faith upon them. But my dilemma was, I didn't want to act, because they lived a little ways. I didn't want to ask them to wait till I get there before they go to the house, because she wasn't breathing well or moving. So I went down to prayer. I said, well, I'm going to pray, and then y'all call me on the way, and I'll meet y'all. And when I went down to pray upon it, I began to declare and pray over that person's body. And the Most High said, stop. He said, get up and go. And that's what he told me. He spoke to me, and he spoke to me this also too when me and my the marriage council team was going to Gainesville, Florida, to do a marriage conference, and the Most High had spoken to me in the hotel room, and I'm gonna get back to that what I was saying. And at first he was saying that you have to develop an atmosphere for repentance first. So we got there and we did it, but then he spoke to me in that hotel. He said, just as Moshe did, he said, go and be a God in this conference. A Elohim. And when we got there, we had to do that. We had to take control of the atmosphere. We had to shift the atmosphere, and then we had to bring healing and deliverance before we can even sit down and do any talk. And then when I kneeled down to pray, when this situation was happening, the Most High said the same thing. He said, get up. And how you trying to press through because you just think it's maybe just you have an impression, but when the Most High spoke again, he said, get up. He said, get up. And I said, go and be a God in this situation. And that's saying, go there with the fullness of you or my power in the earth. That's what it means. You are the full representation of me. And you're going to have to ascend above principalities and cast them down in order for this person to be healed. So when I heard and said that, and I talked to the person, and they said they was going to one of the ministry houses first to get some. We got a lot of natural herbal healers here, and we was going to work with that. But the Most High said, go in full confidence. Go get your rod. Take your rod with you. So I've been consecrating on that rod. I've been praying over that rod. This rod just ain't for show. Let me grab it. It just ain't for show. It just ain't for being pretty. But I pray, I consecrate, I have my rod over my head, even when I'm praying, as a point of that I'm passing under the rod, being inspected as I come before the Most High. Lay before it, everything. So we there. And the brothers, man, the type of faith that the brothers down here showed was amazing. Like everybody that was there was praying and singing and believing. And now this sister, this person was just not, they was not themselves. They was stiffing up. They had no feeling in their legs and their hand. And this stuff was all of a sudden one like it was something that was a gradual thing, a consistent thing that just got to something greater. Now it was just something that was on it. And I went in there for faith, because in those times there was no time to show any fear, because you got to go and be an Elohim. You got to go walk in Emunah, in power. So we brothers began to pray. I got there and lay my hands on her and began to pray and declare and put what's in me, what the Yahuwah put in me to be God-like in her, and pray and declare over her. And at first, her body was responding, but it really wasn't enacting anything. And she would say she feel a little bit feeling, but she said something still got her arms and her legs and everything. So then I took this rod and I laid the rod over her body, right? Then she was laying on the couch and I set the rod over her. And we began to declare, right? And then this is what the Most High said. He said, bloodline. Bloodline. You're not just dealing with spirits, but you're dealing with generational bloodline. Dealing with principalities that had the bloodline of this person for generations. So to make a long story short, the Most High began to, as we begin to pray for her, right? And things begin to happen. And we praying and doing certain things. And in a situation like that, you got to be in faith because stuff gonna happen to deter you to make you think you ain't doing that. So it looked like she wasn't responding very well a little bit. And like I said, go get some water. We prayed over the water, told her to drink it. And we said, every time you drink this water, you got to declare it's healing going on you. And this water passing through, we did that. And then when the Most High said, bloodline, bloodline, then I began to seek and pray as we continue praying. Because what was not going to be an option is that we walk out of there without nothing happening. And then I heard the Most High say Python. And he said, address that Python spirit. And when I began to do that, her body began to shake and quake. And I'm going to say to make a long story short, because I got to get to another point. It's a few things that we had to deal with bloodline-wise. And then she was completely made whole. I mean, completely made whole. Where she began to pray and declare. I had to go into the details of that another day. But anyway, she was made whole and she walked out of there praising and rejoicing. The same person they had to carry in. Same person that walked out of there with full strength. And her level of prayer life now is amazing. She was declaring in the assembly yesterday. I mean, she had to come and tell her full testimony. But it was powerful. But the Most High began to show me that this is what we dealing with. We dealing with the sins of our fathers that has evoked these spirits and principalities to rule over our blood. You're not just dealing with your situation and your circumstances. You're not just dealing with the pressures of what you done wrong. But when you get to a place where you're trying to do right, you're trying to redeem your bloodline, you're trying to redeem things not only that you did, but generational curses upon your blood, then what happens is you disrupt the principalities that has gripped your bloodline for so many years. And you make them angry. And this is why they begin to come at you with all kind of pressures, because in their mind, you got to remember, spirits and fallen spirits and principalities are the most epitome of pride. And for you to say to them that the buck is going to stop with me, that this ain't passing through, then you're going to catch hell in your mental stability and your soulish realm, emotional, because they're trying to get you to break, because they say you got the audacity to tell them that it ain't going no further. But Yahuwah allows it. Why? Because he know that you will be the sacrifice to be able to take the pressure of all these things passing through your lineage to overcome it, so your children don't have to deal with it at all. So this next generation can be raised without these same pressures, powers, iniquities. We are redeeming the sins of our fathers, redeeming the sins of our mothers. So we're going into our bloodline and redeeming our generation. This is what it means to uncover, what that para means. This is what it means one by one. This is why you have to know and pray to the Most High to see what's in your bloodline, to denounce and renounce yourself from it. You don't know what kind of witchcraft is in your blood. You don't know what kind of perversions is in your blood. You don't know if homosexuality is what some of us do know. Some of us know specifically. Drunkenness, abuse, all these things is in your blood that your fathers dealt with, that your mothers dealt with. Rebellion, fear, accusation, jealousy, envy, all these things has gripped your bloodline that's functioning your mother, your sister, your aunties, your great grandparents. You don't know what encounters that they had that gave these principalities a right to have your bloodline like this. And you the one that's saying, I'm finna correct it. Now the pressure of all that is gonna fight you to make you come off that. It's about redeeming the blood now. Some of us done been through the healings, but now we're not healing ourselves, we're healing our lineage. And it's going to be a fight. And it's going to be a battle. This is why you have to denounce, renounce perversion, denounce and renounce homosexuality. If it's in there, denounce and renounce abuse. And any result, denounce and renounce Freemasonry, denounce and renounce witchcraft, denounce and renounce people that I done laid with because I got some of their generational curses because our spirits and our souls was tied together. I got to denounce and renounce these things that I know specifically. I got to denounce and renounce divorce, whatever it is that I know specifically, so I could be the living sacrifice for my children. Because the only way to get to them if it passed through me. It's going to be serious. And these things will attack you when you got so-called freedom. They're attacked. But I'd rather be the sacrifice so my children don't have to deal with it. I'd rather take the attacks and combat them and fight them and conquer them where I am a God unto them than for my children to have to be touched with it. Because I'm determined that ain't going to happen. I'm determined that not one of my children going to have to deal with that. None of them. Because I'm dealing with it all. And I'm clearing out the bloodline curses, covenants that's against not just me, but against my whole generation. That they can be raised in a clean slate without stolen birthrights, without hurt, without these type of pains, without these type of things that try to be multiplied in there. I'm fighting for that. So this is what the para represented, that I will open myself up to Yahuwah. And it's almost like a Pandora box. You know, where the Pandora box, where he unveiled what's in that box and it comes up. It's kind of like that. He unveils what's in that box and it comes. And you lift that box up and all this stuff come up. Let him uncover your nakedness to bear the shame of your lineage before him, that he may come in and expose it and uproot it and cut the ties of it. It's only going to be some that he's able to allow him to gather. And so, and the biggest thing you're going to have to fight is pride, because he might do it openly. He might do it amongst other people. You might have to admit to some secrets that's within your lineage. You might have to expose some things that he show you. You might have to confess some things that's in your lineage that even you deal with and still have struggles with. Because in the end, it ain't about self-preservation no more. It's about you redeeming your blood for the next generation. Uncover yourself. Let him do it. Because this next generation is that important. Counsel generational covenants. Generational covenants. This is why I pray in my watch, Yahuwah, whatever covenants that was made in my generation, whatever covenants that was made in my bloodline before me, I counsel it, I renounce it, and denounce it right now in the name of Yahushua. I break the ties that I have to that covenant. I break the ties that this principality of this spirit have above my bloodline. I know it was done before me, but right now it stops right here with me, that the effects of this, the effects if it's witchcraft, the effects if it's homosexuality, the effects if it's a perversion, the effects if it was Freemasonry, I counsel them and break them right now in the name of Yahushua by the power of the everlasting covenant, through the eternal excellency that's in the heaven, after the order of the priesthood. I break and counsel and denounce and renounce and divorce the covenant and the right to my lineage. Then I began even to listen, because I want to be specific. I don't like vague stuff with me. I don't like stuff that's vague. I want to know. So some stuff I already know what's in my lineage. Some stuff I understand. But I'm trying to redeem my soul and the sins of my fathers. So sometimes I listen to see and let the Ruach tell me, because the Ruach is the ancient spirit. Yahuwah is the ancient of days that's been there, that can look through off your whole lineage and show you and see everything. So I don't like generalizations. I like specific. So I listen to see what the Most High tells me. And what he tells me was in it, boom, I'm going to come against it. I like to take the scriptures and have scriptures on it to come against it, to clean me out. Like Psalms 119, how does a man cleanse his way? By taking heed to the word of Yahuwah. How is iniquity purged? Through mercy and truth. How do I receive healing? For confessing my faults. So it's imperative for us to understand this is what's going on, and this is what the Most High trying to clean up in us. Because it's his desire to bring us into the house, in the family, but we can't go in there if we haven't uncovered ourselves. if we haven't bared our nakedness before him. And this is why this has to be a one-on-one thing. That when you get your visitation from him, that you say, yes, Khan, Cain, expose it in me, uncover me. I don't care if everybody got to know my business as long as I'm getting free. Because it ain't about pride no more. And some of us is afraid to uncover our nakedness even in our marriages. But the spirit of pride that overtook us like, nah, we ain't got no problems. Nah, we ain't going to go do this. No, we good. And know you decaying. Because the spirit of pride on you. Not showing you that you the problem because you got the spirit of fear upon you now because you're afraid to deal with you and really recognize that you have been the problem in your relationships because of what happened to you growing up. So you develop such a mechanism that you get accolades in the things that you do rather than who you are. And you want to let people know you by the works of your hand, by the things that you do rather than who you are to Yahuwah. Because you never dealt with that thing that shaped you into who you are. You live by a mechanism. You live by a false reality, a representative that you want people to see and know you by, rather than really dealing with who you really are. This is why it's important to tell you, show me me. Because a lot of times we judge ourselves based off where we want to be in Yahuwah. So we think that we there, and Yahuwah say, nah, you ain't there. You ain't there. This is who you are and where you at. So the healer is coming. But sometimes when the healer has been exposed and came into the house and have been separated unto Yahuwah for his purpose, now he can become the healer, the God that go and help other people expose their nakedness, that uproot their evil, that opens them up so these things can come out, so they can be gathered in the house and separated unto his purpose. When we have met the healer, which is our high priest, Yahushua HaMashiach, then we become him in the earth, because he said, just as I am, so are you. Just as I was sent, so I'm sending you. Then we become the healer that gathers and uncover that they, one by one, that they may come into the house and be separated. And that's one thing the Most High is doing, even there in the Augusta tribe, man. It's like he have appointed times for different ones to go through deliverance, and it's just happening. Appointed times where it's just happening, but it's like it's happening one by one. And the Most High is bringing those different ones that want to maintain or take that deliverance serious. He's bringing them into the family, into the tribal family, to find out what their work is, will be separated unto Yahuwah. The problem becomes, because sometimes we have some of these, the problem comes when people try to find their function before the healing. I said something right there. That's what the problem is. You ain't been uncovered or exposed or not even in the house, and you're trying to find a function. You ain't even met the healer, but you're trying to find a function. You want to go straight to the part of being separated unto Yahuwah. But really, you're separated unto your own selfish motives and selfish goals to be seen. That's the problem. Everybody want a function and everybody want a purpose, and ain't been through the process to be processed. Kyle, can you come get this baby? She going in and is sleeping here. I know they probably here online. All right, she going in. She going in there. But that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. You can't find out, because the function only happens when he bring you into the house. That means when he bring you into the bond of the covenant, then he's going to separate you unto his purpose. That's why no man can give you your function. No man can give you your function. Yahuwah does that. And he validates it under the leader that he has placed you under. You don't get it just by showing that you gifted. You get it through parat, unveiling, uncovering, bearing your shame before him. That every ounce of you have to die and have to be destroyed. Then and only then can he bring you within the family and you'll come in functional. And you'll be aligned with the purpose of your tribe. And you'll be purpose. But before then, you won't know what your function is. To be healed. To focus on your healing. That's all you need to be doing. Come and get more word to focus on your healing. Sing and worship in the focus on your healing. To get the spiritual surgery done on you so you can redeem yourself in your blood and your lineage. Because you ain't going to be able to heal nobody still bound. And you'll mess up their lineage trying to do something to be seen. This is your function. To focus on my inner healing. And it takes time. Because I want to be gathered into the house. And he is the one that gathers us. Sometimes we just be ready to move so fast, be ready to do this and ready to do that so fast, and don't realize if you stay the way you are, you're going to destroy everybody that come in contact with you. You're going to destroy them because you ain't got that spirit of envy out of you or that spirit of jealousy out of you that breeds from the spirit of rejection. That wonder why more are accepted out and you're not. That drives you to be envious of people. You're envious because you're seeing the outer shell of somebody, but don't even realize that they are going through spiritual surgery right now and bearing their shame, but you can't see it because you look at a gift that they got and covet the gift because you believe that the gift gives them attention from people. So then now you become envious of that person, but don't realize what that person having to go through to bear their shame, to get completely naked before you. I hope I'm helping y'all. I hope I'm helping you. I ain't go like I thought I was gonna talk about. I was gonna talk about the spirit of pride, but really, this is what we got to deal with because it's so many people that be so zealous to do things, be so zealous, but they have a zeal, but not according to knowledge, and they getting up off because some of us will go through that the Most High expose a couple of things in us, and then we so ready to get off that table. We so ready to get off that table and go do some stuff in the natural. If they put you under to take you through a surgery, say you had a major heart surgery or something within, right? And say they sew you up and they wake you up. What'd happen? Or say with some of us, say if they don't sew us up, but they did whatever they need to do. What happened to you if you just stand up? They ain't sewed you up now, but they fixed the problem within your body. But you just stand up and get to running. You know you're gonna die because so much blood will begin to leak out of you because nothing is sealed or closed up. You get to running and just blood just leaking everywhere because you got the surgery. And then some of us will get sewed up, right? Their stitches back up. And time the stitches happen. Okay, my stitches happen and I'm still ready to go. And you get up. Now, this one area now, you didn't heal one area in your body, but the rest of your body is infected. But you think since you got one healing that you good to go now. So they stitched that up. You still got problems in your back. You still got problems with your with migraines. You still got ligaments in your ankle messed up. But then you had surgery on your heart. But then your lungs still bad. So you get that stitched up. And what happened if you run out there trying to do everything just being stitched? Because after surgery, it takes the process of time for the healing to take place. This is why after the surgery of the heart, you have to pay attention to this area. You got to put certain type of ointments or certain type of things. You might have to take some type of prescription. Why? Because what has been stitched need a process of healing, and that means still I can't do nothing. I might have to stay in the hospital for another week or two. Then I got to pay attention. Then they might tell you you got another 2 weeks before you can go to work. Why? Because it hasn't went through the process of healing. You got deliverance, but you didn't get healing. Because what happened? I done got delivered, and I ran out here, and I did all this. And before I know it, I'm back in the hospital. Because I didn't listen to the instructions of what the healer or the doctor told me in order to maintain my healing after my deliverance. Because I want to move too fast. because something is driving me to want to move fast and show what I can do and show what I have, rather than being in humility and say, you know what? I ain't finna do nothing like that unless he give me one thing to do, and I'm gonna do that to the fullness of my ability. Even though I'm gifted in so many other areas, my healing paves the way for my function. My healing set precedent for what I'm supposed to be doing. It ain't no rush, because Yahuwah is eternal. He can use you at any time, in any way. You don't never get too old. You ain't never too young. But he said, I only want you to prosper, even as your soul prospers. So the focus is on the soul, the healing of the mind, and the seat of your emotions, the memories, the thoughts, the things that you experienced that has affected your will, has affected your character. He said, this is how you're going to prosper when that begins to prosper, when healing takes place from that. When you receive the beauty for ashes, when you receive the oil of joy for your mourning, when you receive the garment of praise for the spirit of heaven. So that shouldn't even be a question no more. What's my function? To get healed, to be healed, to uncover my shame, to redeem my blood, to redeem my bloodline. This is how I'm making myself fit and ready for the family. This is how I make myself effective in the work of the Most High. I don't play with it. When he showed me something about myself, I'm redeeming it. I'm repenting. I'm revenging all my disobedience. Because I know this thing ain't just about me. And I know that the Most High is dependent on me. And I'm not going to do nothing to let him down. So if he showed me something about myself, I don't let pride stand up. If my brother showed me something about myself, I don't let pride stand up. If my wife showed me something about myself, I don't let pride stand up. Because I want to be useful to him. I want to be a vessel or an arrow that he can always depend on and begin to shoot me wherever he see the target. So he said, if I can't depend on nobody else, I can depend on Moshe. I can depend on him in this hour. Everybody else walk in pride. Everybody else walk in anguish. For everybody else walk in fear. For everybody else too prideful to be humble before Yahuwah. I expose myself. I say, yeah, you're right. I hope we get this. I hope we get this. I hope we get this. So, family, if you're in any assembly, the way to become functional, to be the perfect fit for whatever tribe he got you with, or just for your children, for your husband, for your wife, is to para, uncover, unveil, bear your nakedness, bear your shame, that you may be gathered into the house. Asaph, the healer, Asaph, that gathers. Parah, unwind, unveil, uncover. One by one, parah. Baith, in the house, within the family, to be separated unto Yahuwah's purpose. That means to become fully functional. But the prerequisite is healing. All right. I'm going to end right there. It's 10:16. I hope I said something to you. Please do a series on this. Red Day. Okay. All right. Well, I'll work something out. Pay attention to I think I'm gonna do it on Periscope. Pay attention to Periscope this week. Each day this week I'm gonna go over some foundational, real basic things for some of the young new people that might have just came into the walk. Some of the basic things. And then I'll let the Most High deal with me if he want me to end up doing a series on the redeeming your blood. Okay. I'm finna go. I love y'all. We'll talk to you soon. And I'm going to say it again. Asaph, Parah, Baith, Qodash. Love you. Talk to you soon. We're going to bid you. What's the Periscope information? Oh, you just go to Periscope and put in Rebirth of a Nation. Rebirth of a Nation. I should be coming on somewhere around 6:30 or 7, something like that. Rebirth. But I'll let you know. Rebirth of a Nation. Okay. I appreciate everybody. Again, let's pray out. Yahuwah, we give you all glory, honor, and praise, and we just thank you for this gathering together. Yahuwah, let this be an untimely word in the people's heart. Yahuwah, let them redeem their bloodline. Let them redeem their generation, Yahuwah. Let them bear themselves and uncover themselves before you, Father. Touch them in their inward part, Father. Let mercy and truth, Father, purge out their iniquities. Let them cleanse themselves by the word, and let them hide your word in your heart that they may not sin against you, Yahuwah. Give them the strength to overcome the fears of their life. Give them the strength to overcome the pride, Yahuwah. Establish them in you. Show them how to renounce and denounce and divorce old mindsets and thinking that might try to hinder them and keep them in a place where they're ashamed to expose themselves. That's by your spirit and by your ruach. Yahuwah, we give you all glory, honor, and praise in the name of Yahushua. Hallelujah. All right. Shalom, everybody.